Hello, we're here in Corgary National School today and we welcome Paddy Finnegan. Niamh and Michaela have some questions to put to him.
Do you think the school is very different nowadays than the olden days?
Yes, completely different. No indoor toilets in the old days. Open fires, no central heating. Playground, just the name of the playground is very mucky. No drinking water. We used to have to get a bucket of spring water from a well down in the bog to provide drinks for the pupils.
Do you think when you were teaching that the way you taught pupils is very different to how people teach nowadays?
Yes. In the old days there was a lot of learning by rote, and there were no computers or any other IT equipment in the schools, and very little in the line of teaching aids. And then we had a primary cert examination for 6th class, which meant a lot of pressure on the 6th year pupils to get past this exam.
Was the school always a two-teacher school?
Yes, it was always a two-teacher school.
Do you think the children were more educated when you were teaching than now?
Well, the pupils would have more general knowledge now. In my time, the concentration was on 5 or 6 subjects, and the pupils today would be way more knowledgeable because they would have, access to TV, etc., which we didn't have at the time.
Was there much space in the school, or was it very squashed? Has the design changed much inside?
The space would be much the same. The design inside was altered between the time that I ended my school days here and when I returned as a teacher later. And the main difference in design would be, in the old days, there was a turf house inside in the school where loads of turf were stored during the winter. There was no cloakroom as such. There was one entrance from the principal's room into the other room, no separate entrance into the infant room. Of course, we didn't have any toilets. There were outdoor toilets, which had to be cleaned out once a year, dry toilets. Gateway to the school was a narrow little gate coming in, just pedestrian entrance. The floor, boarded floor, you'd have plenty of mice in winter time and so on.
What type of equipment did the pupils have for playtime, or did they have playtime?
Well, we had playtime, yeah. They had some type of ball. Later on they had proper footballs and so on. Mainly football and playing catch and that type of thing.
Was teaching easier than it is now?
I don't think so. We didn't have the aids that you have today, and you have a much wider curriculum and more interesting subjects, etc.
Did you find it difficult teaching so many classes at once?
Yes, it was quite difficult, yes.
On an average, how many people would you think was in the school at the time?
Approximately 40, and then it reduced over the years down to 30.
When you were teaching, did you have all the special answer books for subjects like maths or for different classes?
No, we may on occasion have an answer book for maths, that was all.
The pupils' parents were able to afford equipment in the school, or did the parents have to pay?
No, the parents didn't have to pay for equipment. Now, they supplied turf for the fires, and on 1 or 2 occasions when we got central heating in, then they paid so much per house towards that, but normally they wouldn't have any payments.
Did the school get a resource teacher if the child needed one?
No, resource teachers were unheard of at the time. Yeah.
Did the pupils have any sports during school hours?
No, not during school hours, but we used to an annual sports here every year, the day before the summer holidays.
And what was it like when you were a pupil?
I can remember the first day I came to school, I had to be dragged to school the whole way, crying. That was my first introduction. We went barefoot in summertime. We always look out for the 1st of May. I would discard the shoes. Many funny things happened. I can recollect a few. Halloween was a great time for playing pranks. And on one occasion, when we arrived for school in the morning, we found a neighbour's donkey cart inside in the yard. Now that had to be taken apart to get it out, so that was he couldn't come along and just take it out, the gate was too narrow. And on another occasion, another neighbour had a lovely garden of white cabbage, and all the white cabbages were on the road in the morning. But I can remember other episodes. As a pupil, the dentist would come perhaps every 4 or 5 years, and he would extract the teeth inside in the school, no anaesthetic. And I recollect I had no tooth to be extracted this one occasion, and my job was to dispose of the basin of blood and rotten teeth in the evening. Of course, we had corporal punishment as well. You never heard of that? No. Yeah, every school applied corporal punishment at that time and down to recent years, which meant that there was a cane or sally rod in each room, so that anybody that broke any rules or undisciplined or weren't doing their homework suffered. You might like to know how the school came to be here. Walter Joyce was the local landlord, and in 1899 he provided a site for a school and also a site for a teacher's residence. And the school then was built 1900. And Mr. Joyce used to come down to the school on the occasion of the religious exam, and he presided at this exam. And one day the children answered so well that he enlarged the playground for them. He was later shot, as you probably know, in 1923. He was going to Mass in Mindlow, and he was walking to Mass, and he was coming out the avenue, which is referred to as the Grand Gate. There was a big gate there at the time, and he was shot by persons unknown. On that occasion, he died a few days later. Funny incidents that as at my time as a teacher here, I just have recollect a few. On one occasion, the pupils, unknown to me, caught a goat out here in the adjoining field, and they brought the goat into the classroom and tied him inside during lunch hour. And when I came on the scene, all I could do was laugh at the episode. But, I remember a day an inspector arrived, and he was showing the pupils some maths problem on the blackboard, and the pupils got into giggles. They were all laughing, and I was doing my best to stop them with threatening looks and so on. But what they were laughing at was his pants split up behind, and he wasn't aware of it. And eventually, due to the giggling and so on, he spotted what was wrong, so he sat down. We used to have dancing classes here and music classes, guitar classes, which were taught by a nun from St. Coolins in Castleblakeney. and knitting classes for grown-ups at night. We used to have very great problems with the fire. In the old days, we had no heating other than put down a fire in the morning. So the first thing was go to a neighbour's house and get a few coals. And then the turf was very often wet, it wouldn't light. So the pupils would go down to the wood here, and they'd gather sticks. And of course, they were delighted that they probably missed the first class. And you could be waiting for an hour, maybe an hour and a half before the fire would kindle. And then we used to have problems, children getting wet, dirty yards, you see, wet, coming in, all a mess from head to toe, and drying them out at the fire.
Was there many inspectors coming to the school?
Inspectors would come maybe once a year, yes.
Was there like always some person in one class, or was there any time that there wouldn't be anybody in a certain class?
I think we always had somebody in each class, yeah. There may be only 2 persons or 2 pupils maybe in a class, but I think we always had somebody, yeah. We used to go on school tours here. I think we were the first school to start with the tours. And I remember one occasion we went to Killarney. We had a bus. And in order to fill the bus, we brought some of the past pupils who at that stage had been maybe 16 or 17. And of course I had no control over them. And when in Killarney, there was mountain climbing, and they got ahead of me, and they were gone for a number of hours. And we were very worried that somebody had got hurt. So we had to notify the Gardaí in Killarney, and the patrol cars came out and they were searching for them. Search party arranged. And eventually, after a few hours, they appeared. So I was delighted to see them coming, but it was 3:30 in the morning when we got back here. Yeah. And one of the pupils at a later stage, he composed a song about it. We had Dr. Joseph Cassidy, Archbishop of Tuam, here in the school on one occasion for confirmation class. And when he was leaving, he stood outside on the road and he listened. It was a beautiful summer's day, birds were singing, all peace and quiet. And he said, he said, "This is the nearest place on earth to heaven." I vividly remember him saying that.